Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Liberty Hall at Ace Hotel. My name is Paul Morris. Everyone have a seat. There's some seats up front. Come on down or come on in the back. People at the bar, if you are still waiting for your Bobby Wonderful, grab it and come take a seat. How's everyone doing tonight? Woo! We have a great turnout tonight considering the inclement weather, so I appreciate you all being here. And we're in for the final installment of our pen DIY series of the season with Bob Morris. So let's hear it. I am Paul Morris, but no relation to Bob. I'm in his shadow, I think.
Unfortunately.
Yes. I'm the Director of Literary Programs at Pan American Center. I'd like to thank Jenny McReynolds and Teresa Nolan and the Ace Hotel staff for being so courteous and gracious and amazing throughout the past couple of seasons that we've been here. We love it here. We'd love to come back in the fall. Check out pen.org for the latest details about what we're planning for the fall season. But just really, for the Ace Hotel, let's give it up for the Ace. Tell your friends to stay here at the Ace when they come. And not only is the lounge awesome upstairs, the rooms are great, and Alexander Chi started a residency program here recently. So if you know about that or don't know about that, check it out online. They do some great programming, and they really love artists and writers. I'd also like to thank McNally Jackson for being here to sell books. Give it up for independent bookstores. And to all of you for being here, of course. Okay, that's enough self-congratulating. For those of you unfamiliar with PEN, we are the oldest human rights and literary organization. We have a dual mission to defend free expression and celebrate literature, and we're here to do both of those things tonight. We at PEN believe that all writing is an act of courage, and that it takes a lot of courage given the self-censoring forces that try to keep us silent. PEN is a membership organization of over 4,000 writers, editors, translators, and publishers who know what it means to labor over a word choice, to labor over the arc of a story, the development of a character, the description of a location. This PEN DIY series was launched last fall and started out as an experiment that sought to bring storytelling back to its roots. With do-it-yourself presentations by some of today's most engaging writers and performers, we hope to demonstrate that literature is approachable and unexpected. You can tell us if we're successful in that after tonight. So PEN DIY took on a life of its own, and we recently had Erica Jong here, Jennifer Weiner, and Amanda Palmer, and they stood here offering life lessons on a variety of topics. And I invite you all to go online at pen.org to see those multimedia presentations, and you can find tonight's presentation online too in just a few days. PEN believes that all literature is essential to understanding our lives, that it's more than just pages bound in a book. Stories are a way of engaging with the world and dealing with some very big issues. I can't imagine a better way to express this than with the DIY you're about to see tonight. Bob Morris will be up at the mic in just a little bit to talk to us about regret and how to deal with it. We're thrilled he's here to join us on the publication day of his new memoir, which is touching and humorous. It's entitled Bobby Wonderful. It's for sale tonight. McNally Jackson is here. They'll sell you a copy. I encourage you to get it signed. Publisher Weekly had this to say about it. Packing in more substance and smiles than are usually found in the genre, Morris has written a profound and timely chronicle. Incidentally, Bobby Wonderful is also the name of the drink many of you are drinking right now. The recipe is on the counter at the bar. I won't go into detail about it. It's got vodka in it. It's got a splash of regret in it. It's very delicious.
And bitters.
And bitters, don't forget. After you've had a Bobby Wonderful, please also enjoy a complimentary glass of rosé, compliments of Bob and Ira. So a little bit about tonight's format. The format is very simple. Bob will take the stage shortly, and he'll take us through 5 steps on how to deal with regret. Then he'll be joined by Ira. Ira Silverberg is, he's been living happily in New York, as part of the literary scene for many years. He's an editor, an agent, the director of literature at the National Endowment of the Arts, and a board member of various literary organizations, including PEN. We were very, very grateful to have his input for so many years. He also lives happily with Bob. Bob is a frequent contributor to the New York Times and the author of Assisted Loving, True Tales of Double Dating with My Dad. He has written for the New Yorker, New York, Town and Country, the Southampton Review, and other publications. He has been a commentator on All Things Considered, and his plays have been produced at MCC Theater, Darrell Roth Theater, Theater for the New York City, and Dixon Place. His website, which is called Museum of Your Parents, invites visitors to participate in a collective storytelling act by asking the question, why does... You gotta go on this website. Why does their stuff set us off like it does? The website is a wonderful collection, not just of stories and memories, but of things that trigger both. Bob is the author, Bobby Weinfeld. Please welcome Bob to the stage.
Can you hear me? How's that? Okay. Okay. Good evening. Thanks for coming. So, Arthur Miller once said, "Die with the right regrets." Now, I'm not ready to die, but I've been thinking about death and regret lately. I guess it has to do with writing about what I did and didn't do for my parents when they were on their way out. But regret itself is pretty much a daily occurrence for me. It's kind of the fraternal Jewish twin of guilt. And we all know what a motivator that is, especially if you're a writer. Regret, if you must know, is centered in the ventral striatum of the brain. It is seen by psychologists to be useful because it helps you make sense of the world, and it helps you avoid future negative behaviors. In other words, it can be an existential wake-up call that points you in the right direction. You regret Rihanna? Really? Even if you're French, is that really possible? Or does it mean you lived in an airtight little bubble where nothing is ever wrong? Before we get into my own plangent, whiny list of personal regrets around my parents, what are the top regrets according to the Big Bad? A, failed romance, but actually it's over twice as much regretting by women as men, which maybe means that men are more regrettable than women. Education, because, I mean, it was all downhill once you didn't send your child to the proper preschool, right? C, career, because if only you'd gone to grad school at RISD, Yale, and Columbia, and been an actor, you could have been the next James Franco. D, parenting mistakes, because, well, I don't know, Lindsay Lohan. E, health. Can you say yoga injury? Now, I actually love this list that was published in the New York Times a few years ago by a professor who got the chief regrets from his students. I regret my failure to love my ex-wife in the manner she needed. I did not tell a friend why I ended our friendship. I regret I haven't been more welcoming to my sister-in-law. But of course, in that list, there are two that totally stood out for me. I wish I had spent more time with my mother the year she died, and I never said thank you ailing mother had taken a terrible turn in the hospital, I was on a scotch tasting tour and didn't call home or email, and I blamed the time difference and the lack of internet at all these Scottish castles where I was staying for black tie dinners every night. When my brother finally got me on the phone, he told me, if you don't come home to see Mom before she dies, you will regret it the rest of your life. I didn't tell him that I really wanted to see Edinburgh before I came home, and you know, I did tell him that it would cost a fortune to get a new ticket to come back 2 days early, which was true, but I guess I must have been the guiltiest tourist in the United Kingdom the rest of the week. So, Pen America has asked me to do a how-to tonight in 5 steps. Think of it not as a TED Talk, but a dread talk. How to deal with regret. It's in 5 steps, which I think we can all agree is better than 12 steps. And I'll have a drink to that. Step 1, do something. Hello, Olga. Olga is our fantastic associate. Step 1. Here we go. Do something regrettable. Well, that's easy, at least for me. It was, as a son who was far too critical around my loving suburban parents. As a teenager, I once hit my father in the arm with my tennis racket at our beach club in a tournament. The entire club was watching, and I will never forget the communal gasp. I once threw out a recliner from the den without my parents' permission, put it right on the curb while they were away, because I thought it was tacky. Shall we give them a visual, Alden? I mean, who would do anything like this to these people? I have more, let's see, okay. 13 years ago, at the grave of my freshly buried mother, my father told me he had bought a plot for me so I could be buried with them. I told him, no thanks, I didn't like the cemetery. All right, so here's a note on this part 1 here. When you choose something regrettable to do, make sure the thing you do is something that will come back to haunt you. It should repeat on you like moral reflux. Okay, step 2. Rationalize. Why? Why did I hit my father with my tennis racket? Because he poached a shot and blew it and we lost the game. I didn't want to play with him anyway. I had more important things on my mind like pot and beer and cigarettes. Shall we have the... All right, let's take that down. I didn't throw out the recliner. I didn't throw out the recliner because it was ugly. I threw it out because it was getting so rickety that it was dangerous. This cemetery? I want to be in a quieter one, away from the highway with some charm and maybe some hills and a poet buried nearby. Also, one that's easier for my friends to get to, if I have any left, after I've been such a nasty, judgmental person. Here's another note. When you rationalize a regret correctly, it should appear that you didn't do anything wrong when you really think about it. Although, if that were true, why would you really be thinking about it? Step 3. Have second thoughts, then ruminate and obsess. Did I really have to hit him so hard with my tennis racket in front of everyone? Why didn't I just mutter something under my breath? Then, did I apologize enough so that everybody watching knows I was really, really sorry? They look so so bereft without their recliner. It's like there's a crater in the den where it sat all those years. And instead of replacing it, they are using a plastic chair from Kmart, which looks even worse. I miss that recliner. I wonder if I can get it back. Is it at the dump? Where is the dump, anyway? He offers me a grave site with him and my mother, so we can be together for all of eternity, and I turn him down. Why can't I say yes for once? Is it because I can't forgive him? Because I can't forgive myself? Why is my default to him always no? What kind of son am I anyway? Step 4. Try to resolve it. I'm sorry, Dad. Please forgive me. I didn't want to hit you. I don't know what got into me. And as an aside here, I just want to get on the record that the sad and regrettable fact is that my rage at him went on for decades. And he never laid a hand on me, never drank, never touched me in any inappropriate places, giving me no real material to even work with. He was just a sweet, flawed father who loved me so much. Okay. I'll buy you a recliner. Let's go look for one. No, not at Sears. We'll go someplace upscale, Macy's. And then the thing is with this, that I kept saying I'd get them a new recliner, but they were always at least $500, and that's a lot of money. And I wasn't able to shop with them because I never spent enough time with them because I couldn't stand the house or the town where I grew up. I'm sorry, Dad. It's a nice offer, a cemetery plot for me. But it's just not my scene. The cemetery is so flat, first of all. The parkway is nearby, so there's a lot of traffic noise, and you know I'm a very light sleeper. Step 5. You know, this was coming, right? Fail to resolve it and move on. To write about it. You know, and let's have that. Writers are not the most therapized people. Well, that's enough of him. Maybe that's why we have to work out our struggles on the page, writing to understand ourselves better. Most of the regrets I've shared with you, I've written about. Some I also resolved. And in the end, my father knew he was loved. Both my parents did, although I never replaced that fucking recliner. You know, Dad, this cemetery, it really isn't my scene. And it's noisy, and I'm a light sleeper, but maybe it won't matter since I'll be dead. So, thank you for buying me a plot to hang out with you and Mom for all of eternity. I'll take it. Let's give them a picture. And by the way, I did buy a $1,000 ticket to get my ass home early from Scotland to see my mother die, to see the last breath leave her. And because of that, and because my brother had guilt-tripped me home, my wonderful brother had guilt-tripped me home, I don't regret as much as I might have about her death. As for my father, I still regret so many things. Not giving him all the time he wanted at the end, not letting him show me the 35 different bank accounts he had with all this money he had saved for me, which actually made a big difference when he passed away and made his stuff a lot easier. I deserve to be thanked, and I'm sorry I didn't do that. So, regrets. they're as regular as breaths, and they tell us we're alive. But studies actually show that when you're older, you don't regret as much. When you're older, you tend to accept. And at the end, you look back at your life, and what do you see? And I'm just going to show you a 1-minute excerpt from my new book, and then I hope that you'll come over and I'll sign it for you. Thank you. When my father is at the very end, a rabbi visits his hospital bed and tells him, "There's a spot of light inside us when we're born, and it's a little bit of God. It grows," he says, "as you become a good son, a good neighbor, and parent, and it grows each time you do a good deed, each time you listen with an open heart. Imagine your whole life now," the rabbi continues, "and for each time you did something good, imagine it as a little glow you left behind that lights a long dark road stretching back in time." My father nods, and through my tears I see his spots of light, glowing pearly as if in a mist of years as they trail off into the darkness. Yes, I think, my father has his flaws, but he has done the best he can for an entire lifetime. Like all of us, the best we can.
For those of you who don't know me, my name is Ira. Paul introduced me before for being like a professional in publishing, but I'm also married to him. So I feel very comfortable having a conversation with you.
I know.
Regret. Like, what do you regret that you did today? What's today's regret? Like it was
Do
your
you know what
publication.
today's regret
It was
is?
your publication day.
I would tell them about pub dates. You
What-
tell them, you're the professional.
I'm here to ask.
I'm totally obsessed that I wasn't, selling 10 million copies of my book immediately and on the Today Show. No, I don't know. I worry today. I wasted this beautiful day where you have a book coming out. It's a huge honor to be published by 12 books. With an amazing staff, I must say. They took good care of me and honored me with the cover that we all worked on together and did all these beautiful things. And I'm like, why aren't there more people coming to my reading in Washington tomorrow? And, like that. And that.
So that was today.
I hope never to do that again.
I'm gonna remember that, and for his publishers, just remember that as well. Just for all the writers in the room.
But if you
like,
don't get
that
the
So-
undercurrent of this, please buy a photography. Buy a book. I know it's expensive, but please.
I sit close, shut my eyes, not wanting to stay for another minute. And before I can stop, I find myself muttering, "Are you going to die already?"
He finds the most embarrassing part of the whole book. My mother was sick for a long time, and if you've been through this, you know that death doesn't take 2 seconds or even 2 hours. It takes a long time, and my mother had been hanging on for 10 years, and we all thought she would go, but she was struggling and suffering and making us suffer, watching her suffer, and at some point, Yeah.
Given the lesson you just gave us, how does that work into the 5 steps?
I mean, I think that all of us have these thoughts, and we don't always make it our business to express them, which is not to say that there aren't some saints and Jewish saints in this room tonight, but I think that what I was trying to do is give readers permission to feel all the things they really feel and that they can't say.
Part of this endeavor, I think, for you in writing this book was also about keeping things alive.
That's true. I mean, if you're lucky enough to be able to express yourself as an artist in some way, and especially actually, I don't have children of my own. These were my peeps, these were my primary relationship with life. There's nothing, I mean, to come out of the body of 2 people and to have them love you so unconditionally and see them go, yeah. I think I did want to keep them alive.
Given that there are a lot of writers in the room, one of the things I'm kind of curious about is, and I'll just say, Bob and his brother have been in conflict probably for your entire life as a writer, because your family has provided you with a lot of material.
What's your question?
That was the setup, okay. Who owns the material? When you're putting something out there, are you taking something away when you're writing about other people? Is it something that you think about when you're going through the process? Who owns
Well, I mean,
the essence of the story?
You know that, like, in some non-Western cultures, people don't want their picture taken because they think you're taking their soul away from them. And I suppose that's true. It's really hard.
And it brings me back.
My brother is very unhappy with the essay. I don't know if you saw the essay I published in the Times. It was an excerpt from the book, and he had already read the manuscript, and he was very unhappy with it. And I did everything I could to make it gentle without really changing the power of the book. But this came up in the Times the other day, and he's still unhappy. And I understand. It's just I don't know what else to do with myself. I don't know how to tell the truth and show both the conflict and the tremendous love I have for him. And for those of you who are writers, I mean, now I will tell you something. People who are written about actually are not patient for the arc of them redeeming themselves. And so I had to set up the conflict, and then eventually he comes off as a hero, but he couldn't even see that in the 1,200-word excerpt in the Times last day. So. Anyway, check it out, you'll see what I'm talking about.
How much regret do you carry about things you've written about, people you've written about? Do you walk around with a bag of regrets?
Do you know who my next subject is?
No sad question.
No, it's really tough, and in some ways I wish I were such a good writer that I was Jonathan Franzen and that I could invent such invigorating worlds and not rely on what I know. And yet, this is all I can do. And I'm sorry for you.
Nothing to say. You finished this book a couple of years ago. It went out into the world today. You're actually dealing with it. You just dealt with a little bit of kickback from a family member who's been affected because I think people worry about the way they are seen in the world. Now that there's the slightest bit of remove, it's in the world. There's nothing you can do. What would you change? like what's,
Oh. Only one thing left. I felt his girlfriend in his last year. She just, he was in love, they were in love, and then he went down the tubes and she seemed in and out at the same time. And she's gonna see this, and I'm gonna have to hide under the bed with the dog. I mean, I worry about it, but, you know, for those of you who are going through this and your parents, you have a parent who's left, who's dating somebody else, and they're 85 years old, for example. And then in my father's case, he took 6 Ambien and tried to end it, which, by the way, you can never do. You can take a whole bottle of Ambien and not go. But the
but
girlfriend,
you could eat a lot and go shopping.
the girlfriend, she was in and out the door, and I was very honest about it, and I understood it. But I'm not looking forward to that phone call.
It might be suggested that you are the voice of a generation of people who are.
No, I think that would be Elizabeth Wurtzel, who's in the audience tonight.
But I'm asking you the question. You're writing about something you've written a book that is meant to speak, well, as a publishing person, I would say, is meant to speak to a generation, meant to speak to baby boomers about something that is actually bigger than your own experience. You went through it, you wrote it, but I think you do think about larger issues, and as I look at this room, I think I could probably look at a lot of people who are dealing with issues around aging parents, transition in terms of their parents' lives. What advice do you have for people in terms of what they can do to go through what you went through and have just written about in this book?
Yeah. He's fantastic, isn't he? See what I mean?
I used to be in PR.
I think this is hard to advise, but if you can enjoy it as much as you know how, in any way you know how, in any way that works for you, it's going to affect your parents. I have a friend in this room who's got a mom who's like 90-something, and she schleps out to Bay Ridge all the time. You know, it's like to stay engaged, and I figured out ways to go for drives on the North Shore, and sing anything that you can do that makes you happy. Well, you make them happy. You'll make them happy. It'll just lift the whole thing up. And I promise you that when it's over, you'll be inspired that death in some terrible way is an opportunity for all of us.
So, deal with the regret before you have it. Maybe is that the lesson that you're offering?
Yeah. I mean, I'm looking around this room. I know people. We've all been through this. Yeah. I mean, if you can get past that and not expect too much, and just know that to have the opportunity to be of that kind of service, you know, in such a primary relationship, the person that fed you, you know, and brought you up. It's a great opportunity.
A note about the grave you spoke of earlier. His dad offered